into the
All right,
details.
so let me just start off with something that is an anecdote, a little moment of observation. We are in Greenwich Village, of course, and 60 years ago there were way more comedy clubs. And at that time, it was known not just for comedy clubs, but it was known for one guy who got arrested all the time, Lenny Bruce. In fact, he's only been recalled recently from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but without that show, I fear that people would forget that he would show up at comedy clubs. The police would be somewhere on the corner waiting for him to say something obscene, and they would haul him away. And he was known as a First Amendment crusader for that. But the thing that I want to point out, that was when the law censored speech. And what the cancellation culture did is that the culture censored speech. That it was an example of moral banishment, almost like the Scarlet Letter. The people decided they wouldn't tolerate this. The people objected to Roseanne Barr's tweet. We're going to talk about that with Valerie Jarrett. That's a whole nother idea that the police didn't show up. We became the police, this moral crusade. So I want to start with Noam and say, how was business during the worst of it? Did New York City lose comedy clubs because of it?
Business was booming.
It still is.
It still is, yeah. One of the first of all, people who go to a comedy club, it kind of self-selects for people who are offended. People who know that they're easily offended by jokes. Going to a comedy club is not their first choice of an evening out. So there's some self-selection in New York City. But having said that, one of the things about cancel culture, which I always suspected, is that a small group of people were creating the illusion that there was this big critical mass of people who actually felt this way, when it was more like the Wizard of Oz, this man behind the curtain who created this illusion of being a big and all-powerful and scary entity. So even when we were in the news every day very negatively, because when Louis C.K. came back, this was like a national, worldwide story. And we had death threats, and I had emails about my kids, and we had servers here, a waitress who was wearing a Comedy Cellar t-shirt was spit on the subway. And we had protesters outside, and yet business did not take a hit at all, which was an illustration to me that it was all an illusion.
But companies and board of directors took the bait.
Yes, they panicked.
Right. The New York Times took the bait. Disney took the bait.
Yep.
A lot of major corporations took the bait. A friend of mine, who I won't mention, but he's on my board, was a president of a television company out in California, and he couldn't believe what was happening. The board of directors would assemble these people and lecture them about what they're doing wrong.
Yep.
And there was this one anecdote with the producer of the show 2.5 Men. What's his name? And The Big Bang Theory. You would know. The production company, I won't name the company, that owned those shows, sent a consultant to lecture him about comedy and about the writer's room and how he needed to change the writer's room. And he was told by the president of the network that you have to listen and you have to adapt. And 10 minutes, apparently, this is a true anecdote. I forgot the guy's name, but everyone remembers it. He said, 10 minutes in, he said to the guy, "Get the fuck out of my office." He said, "Get the fuck out. You don't have the slightest idea how these shows are put together.
Right.
Just get out." And he was powerful enough to be able to do this. But everyone else took the bait and said,
Yes.
"Look, we're sending someone over, and you've got to modify your material."
It was a moral panic. I mean, there were a couple of profiles in courage. Netflix did not buckle when Chappelle got in all that hot water. Nothing happened to them.
That was the trans stuff and some of the Jewish stuff.
Yeah, I don't think anybody
No one
cared
gives
about
a
the Jewish
shit about the
stuff.
Jews.
The trans
Hello.
stuff. The Netflix employees were not protesting about the Jewish stuff. And Spotify did not buckle at all when Joe Rogan unearthed, these jokes about black people and saying the N-word and all that kind of stuff. And even when some prominent music artists fainted that they were going to leave Spotify just held the line, and everybody forgot about it like 48 hours later. It was all all illusion.
Karen, Judy, did you edit?
Oh, we're one person
Yeah,
now.
you're. No, you guys, because you guys write this stuff. Did the two of you censor, modify, exempt any material in that whole era that you said, you know what, I would do this bit or this joke, but I don't think I should do it now? Anything?
Yeah, yes. I have a couple that I did. I mean,
Give us one. Give us
I'll give
one.
you one. I'll give you one that I had a joke when I was single that I did a lot that was, sometimes I get so bored at a party I'll slip myself a roofie. And I got a mail from domestic, like, violence people. I thought it was insane. And I am, it's like you have to, it's, Judy and I have talked about this, you have to know who the person is who's making the joke. Like, there's nothing in me that's,
The joke
supportive
is
of
not about rape.
It's not about rape. It's about me being bored.
Right.
And it's that thing, that trigger happy thing that if you say a word, they can't hear anything else. I could have said anything with the word roofie in it, and I would have gotten that letter. And I just thought it's not worth it to me. And you know what? I'm not brave like the people that you spoke about. I just didn't do it. I just didn't, because I didn't want the discomfort.
Judy, anything like that, or anything
Okay.
that you bucked the trend and did it anyway?
I have a couple things I have to say.
Good.
Number one, Lenny Bruce was arrested for cursing, but they really wanted him for the substance of his material. They didn't, he was talking about the Vietnam War and segregation and the president and just all this stuff, and he was telling the truth. And which is why Joan started doing stand-up, by the way. Joan Rivers came down to the Village to see him and said, oh, he's saying the truth and making it funny. And so he was her hero. But I agree with Noam on many things. And I also agree there really is no cancel culture. Like, the best thing that could happen for your career is someone to say you're canceled. No one gets canceled. The only person I know who was really, truly affected, I mean, besides Roseanne Barr, but she's not a stand-up, is, well, she was, but she didn't do it, it wasn't because of stand-up, was Kathy Griffin. I think she suffered really unnecessarily. But the question at hand is, and I think what Karen was trying to say is, what is your intent? What is the comedian's intent? You may hear it one way and take it a certain way, but that's not how they intended. So you can own that you have this sensitivity, but when the comedian has no intention, that wasn't even what the point of the joke is, then go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Sorry. It's a comedy club. Whatever. Okay. So I don't really censor myself, but I do.
When the intent is also there?
Yeah, of course. And then you can leave.
Right.
You can leave.
Yeah.
Here, if you don't like the show, Dome will be like, take care, here's your money, and
In other words,
hope
if
you'll
a
come
person
back.
concluded that you actually believe something and it's not...
That's on them.
Then
They,
right.
It's not about you.
Okay.
Well, these audiences don't realize, no comedian gets up in the morning and is thinking about your childhood trauma when they're writing their material. Okay? And so there's this connection that's not really there. But I will say, I don't censor myself, but I do have a line, and as George Carlin famously said, it's a comedian's job to find out where the line is, deliberately cross it, and then make the audience happy that you did. And it's true. I think there's many factors. First of all, I will censor myself when I feel like the audience is laughing for the wrong reason. If I do LGBTQ stuff and I sense that they're homophobic, or if I'm doing Jewish stuff and I'll call them out and I sense that they're anti-Semitic and laughing for the wrong reason. But I was thinking something else.